Wagwan, everybody, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a social production. We're doing it on Friday, January the 19th, 2024. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, thank you for joining me once again. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? Every Wednesday and Friday. Dropped on where? Instagram. Chopped up little pieces. Follow me there if you like. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you like to fiscally support the show. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you right there. I hope everybody's urethras are cleared up. Whatever was happening was in the past, man. Lady, just because it was burning yesterday doesn't mean that today's not a new day, dude. I got your back, you got my back. We're gonna have some fun around here. I hope you're all doing well wherever you're tuning in from. Whether it's anywhere here in Toronto, Canada, Ontario, what's going on over there, Vancouver, you're getting some snow there. A little taste of snow, mostly used to getting a little bit of rain and cloudy weather. Deal with the snow a little bit. But also, like, you know, that's just Canada. That's what we do around here. And then prairies know what the snow is all about. We've gotten snow. It's wintertime. It's wintertime. It's time to get cozy. It's time to get comfortable down south in the United States. If you're dealing with snow as well, anywhere in the East Coast, Shy City, what's up? New York, maybe you're getting a little bit of snow. I don't know. Over there in California, you're not getting any snow over there. Sunshine City, where the skies are always blue and the palm trees are always. Oh, look at your tits out there with the palm trees. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, if you're further down south in the Mexicos, down south in the South America, it's all the way over there in Africa, Europe, Asia, Middle East, Africa. We've been there, but why not? Just visit Africa one more time. It's huge, big. New Zealand, Australia, Papua New Guinea, Korea, Senegal, Portugal, Italy, Cameroon, Senegal, again, Cote d'Ivoire, why not? Hope you're all doing well. As my, wherever, to Kazakhstan, wherever, Finland, Austria, Serbia, so many countries to name. You get globally because we are a global syndicate. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well wherever you are out there. And if you're not, we can turn it around together with this podcast, dude. This podcast turn things around real quick, dude. If you're not feeling well, we'll get you feeling well. But if you're feeling well, that's great. You're going to feel even better after this, I think, hopefully. Sip to the gang. Lots of exciting things are happening. I am going to start off by saying I just got to get this off my chest. Personally, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'll say why in just a brief moment. If we can have a sip of this bad boy to get us going. I am a little bit disappointed because I'm always out there trying to, is there a spot that I can perform? Is there a gig that I could, what's going on here? So I hear this, that, and the other, and I noticed there was an opening. Because this week of all the news, or it's a thing that's happening. We still don't know why, but it happens. It is the annual meeting of the global socioeconomically elite, aka the lizards in Davos, are meeting under WEF. That's what they call a WEF, WEF. So that's happening, and they're throwing this event every year. They threw it. They're still throwing it. Maybe I think today's possibly the last day. So it's too late already. Maybe next year. We'll see. But in the beginning, once, we'll get into all of it. We'll get into all of it, as much of it as we can. But initially, to get the ceremonies going, initially to get the annual meeting and all I got to do before this, I take pride in letting you know what I do, and I do a lot. I'm not the type that'll go around, but I does a lot. And one of the things I do, if I notice there's going to be an upcoming annual meeting of the global socioeconomically elite, aka the lizards out there, I put up the signs and I make sure to call it. So I called a meeting this year. I just went like this, just did a little bit like this, and just silently on my own time. Before this, 2-3 months ago maybe, just standing out in the cold. All I gotta do is that. And I make these noises, and it just triggers something in the lizard. They know, dude. The ones that know, they know. When I do that, they're getting triggered right now. They're starting to grab their briefcases, clutch their pearls, and they're just like, "Where's the meeting? Where's the meeting?" I do this and all this. So I triggered the meeting. I did that. And hold on though for a second before anything. I'll say why I'm disappointed. Let me just get a sip. Can we have a little coffee together, ladies and gents? So not only do I call the meeting, but I also take initiative. I'm like, okay, these ceremonies are, they're for like whatever. Before we get the ceremonies going, we need to like open up the ceremony. Sometime, the prior year we brought a singer, questionable singer, musician, whatevs. But this year I'm like, okay, what do I do to get and I prepared something for the opening ceremony. I prepared a little piece that I wanted to do. And it went it's a little bit alternative, it's a little bit out there, so I was gonna open up the ceremony by painting my face and by just like, I was gonna go and do a little bit of this. So imagine like, there's global socio-economical elites, aka lizards, sitting around on the first initial stages of the meeting on the the panel. They're sitting. I was gonna go and do a little bit of this, and then I get them to open up their mouths as a part of because we're building bonds. It's all about building bonds at this forum, and I spit a loogie in their throat. And then what I wanted to do, I want to just grab my unshaved man nipples and just put it in their mouth. Like that. And then to finish off the set for that one individual, and then I jizz a little bit in their mouth as well, because it's part of the cleansing. And I go and do that one by one. And it was a interactive experience. But, some bitch got the gig. She's just like, basically, everything, she took all the, whatever. You see this lady going up there just like sneezing on fellas. That's what they said. So that's what I wanted to do. I see, whatever, dude. Am I a little bit cheese? Because I was ready, dude. Ready to unload. And I'm like, you know what? If we're going to be promoting spreading diseases, if we're going to be creating diseases and you want to get like all the bodily fluids that are available to you and just exchange it between your fellow elite, global, socioeconomically elite members of society, aka the lizard. You know what I'm saying? So I was ready, but she got the gig. But whatever, dude. I think, if I'm not mistaken, dude, I'm gonna get, I'm not sure if they're from the same. I compete with myself and myself only. But if I need to pick up the phone and call a couple of fellas to get a hold of Alex Pereira to just fucking, fucking right there, dude. Because that was my gig, man. But whatever. The point is, a little bit disappointed, but there will be next year. There will always be, Why? We don't know quite why, but there will be. So let me get a sip of this. And I'll say this in a second. I'm not just there to, I'm also attending. If I'm attending, this year I didn't get a chance to go. But as a billionaire myself, as a world socioeconomically elite person, as a lizard, it's not easy to just, yes, do I have billions of dollars? Am I rolling in? Yes. If I were to, okay, fine. I did drop by. I didn't stay the whole time. How did I drop by? This is as a billionaire, socioeconomically elite lizard. I'd say wherever I'm traveling, because I just wanna travel the world and just tell people about the ways that we can all, reduce our footprints. So what I do is, it's such a simple process. I gather my 5 jets. Right? Just fill it up with all the fuel, all of my private jets, fueled up to the fucking gills. I bring extra fuel just for I open up the door of the plane sometimes and just let fuel just spill. Because I'm a billionaire. I can do that. I do 5 planes at a time. I don't travel. You're like, you only need 1 to, yeah, but I don't want you to know which one I'm in. I have 5 at a time and they're all going in different directions. So it takes us 72 hours, longer than any trip is really, but that's that's just me, because I think about the others as well out there. I'm not just, so I get in there with my 5 jets, and I didn't want to stay the whole time. I just wanted to come in, be like, what up, gang? Hooty hoo. Let's do it. You know what I mean? It's from a billionaire to another billionaire, trying to just, do a little bit of good. While I'm on my jets, and you don't know which one I'm there making phone calls. Because it takes a lot of organization. It is not easy to get the global elite socioeconomical lizards out there to get. So I think hard to myself, and I'm like, what would bring us all together? And I did a lot of lines on I chopped up a lot of coke, dude. Chopped up a lot of coke, drank a lot of whiskey. And after, I don't know, maybe it was 14, 24 hours, it just came to me. It hit me right in the face, because I have hookers on the jets. You got it. And I'm like, what do I like? If I like something, others will like it too. And I'm like, I like hookers. I like jets. I like whiskey, and I like coke. Why not do? So I ended up booking all the hookers in Davos. I'm like, I call them like, if the boys and gals are coming to town to, think of others for a moment, they need to be in proper shape. And I got them all the hookers, to just all the prostitutes in the city. And before even arriving, I'm already creating job. Before even I'm arriving, I'm giving back. I don't even, sometimes I give so much that they're like, maybe have a little bit to yourself. But I'm like, no, once a giver, always a giver. So prostitutes, if you're just a regular schmo out there, and when we're doing WEF, if you're trying to just get a hooker, if you think you can just get, you got to come see this guy. I got all of them for the gang. Because there's going to be so many things that we're going to be discussing at Davos. Okay, it's not easy. I got to make sure everybody who's attending is well taken care of. It's stressful. And you know what the best medicine for stress relief is? A massage, a masseur, a masseuse. Any of the above, mix it up, but just the old people's elbow rub and tug, you know what I'm saying? But that's just me and the gang. We're always thinking of others. We're not selfish at all. So that's what I do. And that's the thing, because I don't want to, when I arrived there, I actually let my 5 jets, I let the engines run, spewing out fuel, just because I have so much fuel. It'd be selfish for me to keep all the fuel in fuel all over the place. If I'm tipping somebody, which I don't, I can't even remember the last time I tipped anyone, but if I do, I tip them in just jet fuel engine. I just open up your mouth and I just squirt a little bit in their face. That's what I do. How are you giving back though? That's the biggest question. And you're like, what is Davos? What is the meeting all about? What is WEF? We've been through this. We'll go over it again, and we'll try to figure it out as we go along the way together. So it's hard for, I have a ton of money. My friends are all CEOs, higher ups, higher echelon lizards, fellow lizard members and it is so hard for us to control. People are just, if the messages, the underlying messages, we would like to have some sort of a global governance, some people call it a one world government. Who knows? It does, but we want to be in charge, essentially. Nobody else knows as much about everybody and everything as much as us. And we know what's best for you. You don't know. Because I can speak for as a billionaire, socioeconomically elite lizard person. The heaviest thing that I pick up in my day is, I don't know, maybe I don't pick up anything heavy. The amount of dirt that I get on my hands, but that's the thing. What makes me so connected to the people is that at the end of the day, I know what's best. And it doesn't matter. I have a lot. Like, for more than, there's people that have a lot, and then there's people who have a lot. And that's us. And we feel good about it. And we're like, and you're like, how could you give back? And we asked her, how could we give back? We could easily just tipping here and there, just working with we could stay put and just give back locally. We could easily, but Ah, no, 5 jets at a time. I like to get out there and really make a difference and remind you to please reduce your footprints. CO2 emissions are on the rise. My engines are running right now, and I gotta be on my. Actually, I got my jets still. The engines actually, funny thing, we actually never turn off the jet engines on my, because I never know. I might get up at any time during the day and just want to hop on a jet. That's what I do. But you, please, if you can stop using plastic straws, it would really make a dent. It would really, if you could please, and all my CEO friends, we have, like, big tech heads, the head of the spear of the tech industry, sure, their products, when you look at it at the bottom line, when you look at the ground floor, if you want to pay attention, almost any manufacturing companies behind all the beautiful gadgets that we provide for you, really, the phones, the tablets, the robots, the AI, the augmented reality, the virtual, behind all of it is many removed steps far away. There is a mine. There's mines with babies digging in coal, digging in soot, digging in, trying to dig up lithium, trying to dig up, the minerals, the cobalts, the coltan. They're digging hard. And all I say, as I sit in my private jet, I say to myself, my God, how can I, there seems to be somewhat of a gap. And I think to myself, what can I do? Instead of going in, sure, I could go there, visit the sites, sure. They're my companies, of course, all of them, but I'm running many companies. It's not just one. What do you expect me to go to all the sites and visit all the mines? Do you want me to, or I can sit here and think of a word that would potentially change everything. Sure, I could easily go and implement change in person. Sure, I could find ways of manufacturing locally instead of having to, harvest resources elsewhere, spend money getting it from overseas once manufactured. But that's the thing, I save a lot on labor, and that's how you get them cheaper, whatever it is that's how you get them out. So I'm thinking about everybody out there. Yes, babies are bleeding in the soot. Soot City blood babies, just with their tiny little fingers. And I say, it's building good work ethic. It's so hard, and you miss that sometimes. You got to build good work ethic. So I make sure to show up, let them see me, so that they can visualize one day what could be. One day, and I go on my jets and I think, my God, how can I bring change? And I'm burning fuel, just tons of fuel. And, buying up massive amounts of land and telling people what to eat and telling people what not to, just trying to take over all the farms. As I'm taking over all the farms, I say to myself, I'm buying up more land. As I'm flying, jet setting, I'm buying more land as I go along. I just buy more land and more as I'm buying more land. And I own a lot of land. And I think to myself, my God, is there a way to bring people a little bit, if there was a pie to be divided amongst people, is there, I'm stuffing my face with pie at this moment, because that's how I got the thought for it. I'm stuffing my face in pie and pussy, the best of pies, really. I'm eating punani out all the time, because it's for my diet, it's for my health. And I'm eating pie and I'm thinking, if there's pies to be distributed, so how can I have what I have and others have what I have? And that, it's hard, that's not feasible. But I could come up with a really good, and I came up with a good idea, and I like to call it equity. Equity, boys and girls, ladies and gents. I like to say, if we all did our part as I'm doing mine, if you can go out there and just think of a way that we could all equally, mostly, I'd like to hold on to my things, but you out there, whatever's, like, I'm gonna plunder. I'm gonna just take for me. But whatever is left, if there's anything left, there's a pie, right? And I like pie, and I'm eating all the pie. And I say to myself, if there's any crumbs left, how could we equitably divide the crumbs amongst the peasants? I say that, I'm like, these poor peasants, they just don't know any, because I'm stuffed. I have so much pie. I'm literally, my digestive system and the way I intake and I just shit it out. It doesn't even stay there anymore. I'm like a juicer. You've ever seen one of those infomercials for juicers where they just put a carrot and an apple and that's me with pie. So I'm saying, whatever, I might finish the entire pie. I have already taken over most of the pie. Yes, but having said that, there will be crumbs to be divided equally amongst those who don't have equity. And that's all I'm trying to do. Just fly on my jets, tell you to stop eating meat, get up. I just want all the land. If a fella cannot be in multi industries at a time, tech, AI, military industrial complex, construction, if a fella can't have his filthy greasy little hands and all the little pots and simply ask, how can the peasants still divide the crumbs equally amongst themselves? Well then, but that's just me. I know you are selfish. Yes, the problem is the consumer. The problem is that you do not understand stakeholder capitalism. That is the problem, my friend. You do not understand the concept of stakeholder capitalism, okay? And at the end of the day, it's about stakeholder capitalism. We'll get to that in a minute. But what else do we discuss at Davos? We discuss things like climate change. Climate change. Why, you ask? Why focus on this one thing that is, if most people paid attention, the weather, the climate, it fluctuates over hundreds of thousands of years. We've gone through ice ages. We've gone through heat streaks. We've had parts of the earth that were formerly known as the rainforest, but now have become over thousands of years of just earth doing earth. They've now become deserts. We can look at all that, but we like to focus on one thing in this. And it's not much based on science, but we find that science could be a great tool to harness a global governance, at least in some aspect. And we'll try to come from different sides, but science is a really good one. Science is a great one right now for us. Climate. We like to come and say that we like to control the climate, and you too can control the climate by not going out there and spending so much with your gasoline vehicle. Please do not buy gasoline vehicles. Yes, of course, your electric vehicle, for example, could be shutting off automatically because it is winter time, and in winter conditions these electric batteries do not get charged up. You could end up dying out there. All we're asking is a small sacrifice. If everybody just took the time and realized that, hey, I could look at this frozen car as a half-frozen car, or I could look at it as a hibernation chamber. Get in touch with nature. If you've paid attention to nature, you'll notice that bears, for instance, hibernate during winter time. Ever think, for you selfish bum, ever think to yourself that, yes, my car is frozen and not moving in the parking lot, in the charging parking lot, instead of being all friggin' prima donnas out there getting on TV, I can't get to my baby. My baby's been at the daycare for almost 7 hours. My wife's in labor. She's giving birth to her, I can't get to my wife giving birth. Instead of being it all about me, why don't you get in the car and hibernate for a few months, won't you? So to what? Reduce your footprint. Your CO2 footprints need to be reduced. So I need you to just go hibernate, Cryogenics, stop crying about it. If you're like, I don't have access, this is free access. Did you freeze yourself for 6 months? Economy's kind of like doing, it's not doing too well globally speaking. You come back to it, you take a snooze, take a break. 5-6 months, you come back, everybody else has been doing their thing. Well, guess what? Who's fully charged? Who's fully ready to go? You thought out right there, dude. Okay, let's go. It's not only up for it's not only Walt Disney that gets to do it. It's not only the socioeconomically elite lizards. We are trying to take over so that we could, again, most of the pie will be ours, but I want you to at least, help yourselves to the crumbs. When there are crumbs, do not wonder why you're not having anything, okay? Please think of others. Instead of always being a Debbie Downer and looking at the glass half empty, look at the positives, okay? So after having, that's one example. We'll leave that be for a second. That's one example. That's what we're trying to do at Davos, at the WEF. Get a sip of this for a second. Other things that are on our agenda, on our mind. We like to promote peace. We like to achieve peace. And the best way, if we've done a lot of spending, we've done a lot of jet setting, we've over the years, a lot of us have a lot of experience. Some say we're like the, not all of us, some of us are part of the shadow government. We've been behind them. We are the people that you normally don't get to see. And over the past few years, we're like, let us be seen for a little bit. So that's what this is what this is all about. We would like to bring peace. But peace there's no money in it, you guys. There's no money in it. And the best thing for peace is weapons. We need more weapons. We need to fund us so we can fund our, military industrial complex, globally speaking. If we don't have wars, you see, if there's not conflict, if there's not, if it's not Russia, if it's not Ukraine, if it's not the Middle East, if it's not, if it's not parts of Africa, if it's not this, if there's no tensions, we don't get to make as much money. And peace can only be accomplished through missiles, through wars. So in order to achieve peace, we need to accelerate funding. We need money, more stealth bombers, more drones. We need to figure out ways where we can figure, new means of attaining power, energy. And that's great. And that's great. And one of our biggest partner, many countries, people are having their doubts. Some people are like, they're jumping on, they're eager to join. Some are a little bit more hesitant, asking what's going on over here. I just like to point out to China. China and WEF are tight. And do we have similarities and kind of like it's so easy. Once you come to terms with how are we going to go about conducting business, and it's mostly if you can just agree on top-down authoritarian methods of control and distribution of it just works. So we're very much in tune, we're aligned, and China gets it. If you could all just be a little bit more like China and think about equity, because this is what needs to be done, you guys. So these are, and we talk about different things. So climate is one. Other potential diseases that might be coming up. We think about these things. Like did you know right now that there is a disease called, it's disease X. I bet you didn't even know what disease X is. Some of you might know what disease X is. I myself actually don't really know what disease X is, but I am a billionaire, multi-billionaire, socioeconomically global world elite lizard man, and I don't need to know what disease X is not even a thing yet. It's more of a placeholder, but we're working on it. China's working on it. I can give you an example. This is how you could step up. See, this is what I mean. China's doing great. China right now is successfully, now it's apparently, I've not seen it myself, but allegedly they've created an even stronger, better, deadlier version of COVID-19. Okay? So China's doing its part. So if you're like, where can I find ways and methods of, giving back? Look at China, look at what they're doing. Create more, stronger, deadlier viruses. Play around a little bit with gain of function research. Labs. Should I keep the labs loose? Should I keep the labs tight? You're asking too much questions, far too many questions, not doing enough science. Because once we figure out a way to take people out, we can start making a lot of money by creating medicine for those people who need our help. You understand where I'm going with this? It's very simple. You need to stop being selfish. You need to reduce your CO2, and you need to start. And that's why I wanted to initially start the meeting with the whole, right? Because I wanted to convey what we're all about. We are about spreading. We are about, And that's what that is. So please, I know what's on everybody's mind, especially given the fact that we've gone through, 2-3 years of the pandy schmandy. Still very, many of the questions still remain unanswered. Many of the culprits still remain, really they're getting away with it, and that's the way and once everybody was just like, oh, we're kind of getting back to a new normal, at least it's been a difficult start for a lot of people. Again, don't forget, the average person has lost a lot of businesses, a lot of money, a lot of households, a lot of regular folks out there, but those are the peasants, not you. But those are just, so I'm not like, I've heard of this, of course. I myself have not missed a meal in God knows how long, but I hear these things. It's apparently a thing. Apparently it's a thing. And at the forefront of your thoughts, after going through all that, I know everybody was just like, it's been a little while because we were like out there doing the thing, but we're like lockdowns. Anybody? Does anybody miss lockdowns? Does anybody? We put our ears to the ground and we listen. And nobody said it, but we heard somebody say, why don't we create another pandemic? If we could together create another pandemic, guys, another global shutdown, because the economy's not doing too well. The world is in a lot of debt. The world, I have a lot of money. Personally, I have a lot of money in all the farms, but globally speaking, the world is in a lot of debt right now. Some might say this was kind of similar to the period during World War II when a lot of countries, even in the developed world, we're facing a lot of debt. Some might say that, and to that we say again, look how much money was made afterwards. You got to go through a little bit of, you can't just, populations in decline, okay? We need to, in order to have another reemergence of a baby boom, we got to take out a lot of babies. We got to get rid of a lot of babies so we can have more of a boom before a boom comes a bust. We got to go a bust so we can boom. You understand? Quit being selfish out there. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, if we could get behind disease X, even if it's not a thing yet, if you could just prepare yourselves, and the way to do this is having global standards, reaching global, and again, emphasis on global, emphasis on standards, emphasis on who gets to decide these global standards. It'll be us. It's us. It's me. It's us, not going to be, you guys are busy doing your 9-to-5s, fighting for the crumbs. You don't have time for this. I'm on my jets. I get to decide. And besides, at the end of the day, I only trust myself, and I know if there's only one other person in this world that I trust more than myself. And if I'm too busy and I got to trust my life or anything else for that, there's one person that just brings comfort and joy and a sense of safety and security to me. When this fella just speaks, he opens his mouth and speaks, I just feel like I'm like, more. Give me more. I feel like I'm being hugged by a warm blanket. I'm talking about Klaus Schwab. So whenever Klaus Schwab is in the mix, I feel extremely comfortable. My mind is at ease because he's another fellow lizard, socioeconomically. He's up there and he makes me feel comfortable. And I'm just like, God, could we somehow spread a little bit of this comfort to the masses, if we could just somehow. And after listening to Klaus Schwab speak with the CEO, if I'm not mistaken, was Microsoft, the level of comfort was overwhelming. I felt so much more comfortable, safe, secure, because it's so relatable. At one point, Klaus Schwab goes into a story where his teenage grandson comes and asks him, Grandpapa, what can I do to become a big guy or big man in AI? And he laughed, and that was a question. So he reiterated that question to the Microsoft CEO that he was interviewing or having a conversation with. And they both kind of chuckled and laughed and said, it doesn't really matter what you study because everybody will in the future will have access to personalized tutors through the usage of such technologies as AI and whatnot, those are great, but the chuckle and laughter that came right after he reiterated that story about his 15-year-old or 16-year-old teenage grandson asking him what he's going to do to become a big man. He doesn't need to because he's already in the circle. That's what the chuckle and laughter, and it doesn't matter what he studies because we're taken care of. Again, it's the crumb chasers that need to stop being so selfish and start thinking about others and start throwing out more words like equity around, because we need and new branding for really when it comes down to communism is, again, for everybody else, for us, I'm thinking of, after this, I gotta actually go and buy a couple other jets, you guys. I gotta go buy a couple other jets, but that's just me. I'm buying, and I gotta make sure that I get to my other meetings. I'm buying more land. I'm so thrilled to share this with you. I'm buying more land. I'm buying all the land, all of it. So I say to my grandson, very cute, you just wait another 5 years and you'll be automatically grandfathered into a lot of wealth and you don't need to do anything. But that's my grandson. And this could, and I go, and again, this is why I drop by the factories every once in a while to just show myself in person and let there be at least an image of what could be for the babies who are sooted up. Just blood. Oh, my fingers. I'm so hungry. People jumping off buildings because they're tired of their working conditions. You know? And I say to and I just show up in my Rolls Royce and I say, this is what could be. If you stop whining and put your nose to the ground and work a little bit harder and quit being so selfish. And by the way, you need to upgrade those vehicles that you're arriving to work. Your vehicles are from the 80s or 90s and they're emitting a lot of CO2s. If you can just spend 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 on an electric vehicle that'll most likely leave you in colder temperatures, and its cost of repairs are extremely high as well, and batteries are still not as sufficient as we love. But if you could stop being selfish and think about my company and the stakeholders who are invested in my companies. It's not just about you, it's about the stakeholders, and that's what stakeholder capitalism is all about. So if you don't have a stake, if you don't have your hands on stake, and you're like, how do I get my hands on stake? Quit being selfish. Start investing. You're like, I barely have enough to just make ends meet a month at a time. And that is, you know, it's, the world is your oyster. That's what I say. So please, you know, there's hope. If there's hope for my grandkids, there's hope for your grandkids too. That's what I wanted to say. And it's sad sometimes that you see people, you know, because I go in there when I see Klaus Schwab talking, it's very evident to me that if you could create more bodies of governance globally, okay, and put Klaus Schwab at the head of the table, everything would be so much simpler. I don't know why people are so resistant to a one world government concept. Look at all the benefits the World Health Organization brought about. Global shutdowns. You know, we can do that. We can do more of that with more global governance. And luckily, there's going to be more opportunities for us to harness global governance. Safety, security being issues. You know, it's the smallest little things. You know, I looked the other day, there's a flight from Tokyo to Seattle and a passenger bit a flight attendant and the plane had to actually land back in Tokyo. And it's just the little things. I see situations like this. Normally, if this was like 5-10 years ago, mentality would be like, if somebody bites you, bites them back. It's the old method of how do you deal with a bully, you know, but that's the thing. Now we got to turn things around and land the plane and make a whole hoopla of the situation and be like, okay, what do we do to deal with this? Bring in more, if everybody could just be more, if we could invest more in security, if we could get everybody on some sort of a digital ID, if we could just incorporate some sort of, if digital currency and digital IDs, if these things could be incorporated, I see these little mishaps and I'm just like, opportunities that are missed, but we will capitalize on these coming down the line. So you don't need to worry your pretty little face about it. But if you're just like a regular person and you're like, what do I do as a regular person? If you're on a plane and if somebody bites you, if you bite a flight attendant, I want the flight attendant to bite the individual back. Don't listen to me, but also listen to me for shits and giggles. All I'm saying is that what you got to do is, if you're having issues, you know, if people are acting a fool on a plane, how about we do this? If you get on a plane, we could just gas everybody. Everybody goes to sleep. Everybody just sleeping. Oh, whatever sleeping gas we could use. Just put everybody under for however long the flight is and get there from A to B. Everybody's snoozing. Put the pilots on gas. Let them they're tired. They worked enough. Autopilot will take over. No worries. What about laughing gas? If everybody's laughing, how could anything go wrong on a flight? Get everybody drunk, get everybody litty. I've never seen a party break out into some sort of a fight in the middle of. I've never seen that. Just get everybody lit. Fill the airplanes with water, more jacuzzi water make it a jacuzzi slash plane, so that people are having more fun. If they're having more fun, they're not as agitated. Make separate flights for adults and children. I notice a lot of times adults could get along a lot better and have a lot more fun. Things could be way more loose, but pesky kids get on planes and ruin everything. So one fella decides to bite a flight attendant. It's just his way of saying either I'm letting you know I'm a cannibal, which is like, hello, to each his own, I'm letting you know that I'm letting you know that I'm avails, and you're all saying like, oh, pointing, coming in heavy with the stigma. So just quit being all panicky and all like, look at the opportunities where we could make money together, okay? These are the things that are at the Davos right now going on. Today, I believe, might be the last day if I'm not there anymore, dude. I've already flown away in my jets. Got to take off soon as well. So I'll say that. And other, hold on, so let's get a sip of this bad boy right here. But you got to start small. You got to start somewhere. If there is some sort of deficit, if there's some sort of shortage anywhere in any market, you're like, how do I become a socioeconomically elite lizard like yourself? You're asking this to me. And I say, look where there are holes, fill in the holes. Where there's shortages, fill in the. I'll give you a great example right now. There is a Adderall shortage, and there's not enough being produced. There's a lot more demand. So what did I do? How do I become? It's super easy. It's super easy. Do you have a bathtub? Does your mother have a bathtub? Start experimenting. Make your own Adderall. It's being sold in the black market right now. Ton of it is being, and you don't worry about it. You can make so much money, and there's a lot of demand for it because a lot of people apparently are coming down and they're like, man, I need to focus because I'm a big ADHD guy, I'm a big ADHD gal, but I need to get my job finished and the assignments are coming in and the letters need to be sent out and the emails and the faxes, and I got to listen to a phone call, and I got to get on the webs, and I got to like telemarket, and I got to do bilateral trading, and I got to meet the stock market is closing. You're sweating. You've not eaten in days. You need more Adderall, man. You need to just focus, okay? Because what? Crumbs. There is equity in crumbs, because you will get your crumbs if you just concentrate a little bit harder. If you can outwork everybody there in that office who is also trying to outwork you, if you can all just continuously run on the. Just think of yourselves as the little hamsters that are in the hamster wheels. And I'm just saying, if you just put a little bit more effort, if you just juiced yourself up a little bit more on ADHD medicine, okay, fine. The pure Adderall is amphetamines, but that's just like regular Adderall. What about knockoff Adderall? What if I told you could get grade A speed or methamphetamine? What about meth? Have you tried meth? What about, do you not want to raise productivity at work? So find balance. I also want you to take care of your health. I don't want your health to be your priority, because if you're out there just putting your health if health was the priority, then we'd slow things globally. Overall, we'd slow things down. But that doesn't drive productivity. And stop being selfish. Remember, what did I say in the beginning? Stakeholder. If you're not one yet, try to become one. There are others out there who are stakeholders, and you can do it too. Become a stakeholder, okay? So that you're invested in companies. So when the company is thriving, the stakeholders thrive. If you're not in the market, quit whining. Look at me, look at my 5 jets, and look what can be. Having said that, Adderall, there's a shortage. You get in your mother's bathtub. You start experimenting. I sat down, tried to watch Breaking Bad. It was a little bit too much for me at the time. Maybe I'll go back, but it's similar vibes, dude. Similar vibes. You're basically cooking meth. You cook a little bit of meth. You sell it as Adderall. Supply demand, baby. Supply demand. When there's a shortage, you get in there and fill pockets. Make relationships. long-lasting relationships. Okay, your clients are gonna become addicted to meth. Some say that the pharmaceuticals were actually probably responsible for that initially, and it's easy to point fingers to pharmaceuticals, but it's much easier to point fingers to individuals who are cooking fake Adderall, because it's so much more difficult to go after big pharma rather than, look at root cause of the problem, way more difficult. But like pointing fingers to fugazi meth creators out there, it's way easier. And in the meantime, if you can just do it for a short period of time, you can make bank and get out, dude. Little bit of meth, and then you get out. Everybody wins. Some people will lose, but you got to be able to take the wins with the losses. That is, you got to be able to look at the world. Take the wins with the losses. 5 jets. Lot of land. Ample amounts of resources for me and mine. Winning. And yes, soot babies. Dirty, bloody soot babies. So you gotta just remember, stakeholders, and look at the possibilities of what could be. And I say to you, what are we getting ready to step into? I like to say, upholding the stakeholder mentality, stakeholder capitalism. Okay? I don't want the companies thinking what's best for consumers. I don't want the consumers to be involved with companies. I don't want companies being held responsible and accountable for what they do to the environment, to the humans that they're dealing. I just want, if we could just put profits above all and select a beautiful Klaus Schwab to be the head of the world, just if we could just, globally come together and make a one world government and put Klaus Schwab at the top, this would just, you're making one old man's dreams come true. Just quit being selfish, reduce your CO2 footprints, and fill in the gaps. Fill in the gaps, okay? Where there's an Adderall shortage, do not be like, I can't finish an assignment. Start experimenting, all right? Just get to cooking. Let's go. That's what I like to say. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining me. It's been great being with you. I gotta make a couple of phone calls. I gotta go get some more land. I'm buying 20 more cars tomorrow, and I'm building businesses and thinking about you. So if you're out there, you're like, how do I make sure that there is less of a gap, less of a disparity between people, and it's just look at me and what could be and start doing instead of start taking action. It's the little things that count. Again, communism, equity for others, lots for me and mine. I'm good, but I want more. You, on the other hand, focus on the crumbs and fight. Right there. I love you all. Thank you for joining me again. Where can you find these videos? If you like these videos, and if these videos made you feel as comfortable as Klaus Schwab has made you feel comfortable, and that's the most comfort anyone's ever felt. So much comfort. So if these videos do anything for you, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com if you'd like to check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you'd like to fiscally, financially support the show and watch us become even bigger of a conglomerate and just take over everything as we tend to do, because it's in me and it must be done. And I thank you for being a part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Have a wonderful weekend out there. And remember one thing, if you could just take away one thing from all of this, stakeholder capitalism, think about the investors and profit margins. And farewell till next time.